Welcome to this explainer. Okay, let's just dive straight into this. Because today, we're unpacking one of the most bizarre, frankly frustrating, and absolutely universal paradoxes of being human. It's this strange tendency we have to desperately want happiness, yet actively, almost systematically, choose misery. So why on earth do we self-sabotage? And, more importantly, how do we finally break free from the gravitational pull of our own negativity? So I want you to ask yourself a completely honest question right now. Have you ever found yourself just repeatedly falling into the exact same failure patterns? Like you know exactly what you should do, you know what would actually make you feel better, but somehow you just end up making the choice that leads to stress or anxiety or sadness? It's almost as if a part of you is actually comfortable there. Well, if that resonates with you, you are absolutely not alone. There's actually a very specific reason why this happens. To really get to the bottom of this, we're looking at some groundbreaking observations from a fascinating text by Ryuho Okawa. It's called The Unhappiness Syndrome. And the author points out this really profound truth. A lot of people, totally without realizing it, are actually deeply in love with their own unhappiness. Like, consciously, they'll say, I want to be happy, sure. But their subconscious mind, it's completely wired to seek out the gloom. Now, the unhappiness syndrome isn't just about feeling sad from time to time. It's a deeply ingrained subconscious pattern. The author explains that because folks secretly harbor this love for their own misfortune, it literally just takes the tiniest trigger. We're talking a misplaced comment, a minor setback, and bam, a sudden, sharp plunge straight back into their unique, comfortable failure pattern. It becomes this dark-minded, gloomy default setting. And hey, if you think this is some rare condition, brace yourself. The author suggests that a staggering 80 to 90% of people in modern society might actually suffer from this syndrome to some degree. Think about that for a second. That means if you look to your left, look to your right, odds are someone right there is dealing with this. It just brilliantly illustrates how universal and really insidious this psychological trap is. I mean, it's happening all around us, in offices, coffee shops, on your morning commute. So we're dealing with a massive disconnect here. We constantly tell ourselves, I want to be happy. We say it, we read self-help books about it, we set vision board goals for it. But when you look at the harsh reality of our subconscious actions, we choose the path that leads straight to misery. We dwell on negative thoughts, we assume the absolute worst, we nitpick and look for flaws in other people. Basically, there's just this massive gap between what we say we want and what we actively practice every single day. And the author definitely doesn't sugarcoat the danger of this mindset. Actually, he uses a pretty intense metaphor. He calls this indulgence in a gloomy, dark-minded life a form of slow suicide. Heavy, right? But it makes sense. When you continuously permit yourself to entertain thoughts that drag you down into misery, you're essentially destroying your own potential and your vitality in slow motion. It is a severe wake-up call kind of warning that we absolutely cannot afford to leave our minds on autopilot if they're wired for negativity. Okay, so the million-dollar question, how do we escape? Well, the very first mandatory step, the ultimate paradigm shift, is self-awareness. The text emphasizes that you have got to recognize your specific pattern first. You have to realize and admit that you are the one choosing the unhappiness. Because honestly, until you admit that you've been infected by this unhappiness syndrome, you can't cure it. Recognizing the trap, that is the exact key that unlocks the door to your escape. To really visualize this escape, the author uses this brilliant airplane metaphor. Imagine your life right now as an airplane. The gloomy life is heavy. The wheels are stuck to the runway, just weighed down by gravity and negativity. But our goal here isn't just to lift off an inch or two. The goal is the takeoff, leaving that ground of unhappiness entirely, ascending into the clear blue sky, and maintaining a cruising altitude of 10,000 meters. Up there, the air is clear and your mind is finally free. So, to achieve this beautiful takeoff and truly say goodbye to a gloomy life, the text provides a really actionable framework. It basically breaks down into 4 specific mindset shifts. These are 4 states of being that you absolutely must actively cultivate to get your plane off the ground and keep it flying high above all that negativity. Let's just break these down one by one. All right, the takeoff sequence begins with step 1, and this starts the absolute second you open your eyes in the morning. You must wake up feeling that life is wonderful. Now, I know exactly what you might be thinking. How many of us actually wake up like that? Most people wake up dreading the long day, hitting the snooze button 3 times, or just anticipating everything that could go wrong. But the author argues you have to actively force the realization that a new, wonderful day is beginning. You've got to consciously overwrite that morning dread with a proactive sense of wonder. Because, let's face it, if you start your day in the mud, your plane is never taking off. Okay, so once you've set that tone for the morning, we move right into the second step. And this one is all about firing up your internal engine. You must cultivate an overflowing vitality and energy. We're talking about bubbling, dynamic, physical, and mental energy. Too many of us just drag ourselves through life like depleted, sleep-deprived workers, constantly letting stress and minor troubles completely drain our batteries. But to fly at 10,000 meters, you need serious engine power. You have to figure out how to reclaim that let's go get 'em feeling, that vibrant drive to actually do things rather than just surviving them. So, now that your engine is roaring, we transition to the third step. And this is where we shift our focus outward, away from ourselves and toward the people around us. You have to see others as wonderful and genuinely rejoice in their success. This is such a profound psychological truth highlighted in the text. If you only look for flaws in other people, if you're constantly criticizing, you can never truly be happy yourself. And why is that? Because recognizing greatness in others is actually proof of your own internal happiness. When you're secure and flying high, other people's success doesn't threaten you at all. It inspires you. Which brings us to the fourth, final, and undoubtedly most profound step of this whole takeoff process. You must live for the benefit of society. The ultimate realization here is that true joy, the kind of joy that keeps you permanently cruising way above the gloom, it comes from living for something far greater than just yourself. When you finally realize that your life, your work, your very existence is contributing to making a better world, what the author actually refers to as a utopia, you unlock a level of happiness that petty, everyday grievances simply cannot touch. So let's review your daily flight checklist: waking up with joy, cultivating vitality, rejoicing in others, and living for society. And remember, this isn't just a one-and-done checklist. This is the daily maintenance required to keep your airplane at 10,000 meters. If you stop doing these things, the gravity of that unhappiness syndrome is going to pull you right back down to that dark, gloomy tarmac. You've got to be an active pilot in your own life. Which leaves us with this final thought. The unhappiness syndrome is a choice, even if it's a subconscious one. But now that you know the pattern, you hold the power to break it. So, I'm leaving you with this challenge. Tomorrow morning, when your alarm goes off, are you going to let gravity win and stay grounded in your comfortable unhappiness? Or will you grab the controls, change your mindset, and choose to take off? The sky is waiting for you. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.